There's some more NHL news to discuss today, including news on Brent Seabrook of the Chicago Blackhawks, Brett Pesce of the Carolina Hurricanes, and unfortunately we have some sad news as well with the passing of Walter Gretzky. We'll discuss all the latest coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we have a variety of news topics to cover today. First up, we had somewhat surprising news that Blackhawks defenseman Brent Seabrook is technically retiring. Now, I guess retirement might not be the operative word here because he will remain on long-term injury reserve for the remainder of his contract, which pays him right to the end of the 2024 NHL season. So there's still a fair bit of term at $6.8 million. It's a lot of money that he's not just going to walk away from. Obviously, Brent Seabrook's had a 15-year career. We know the last few years have been hard on him. He's battled a lot of injuries, had a lot of wear and tear on that body, and has been out for a significant period of time the last couple of years as well. So I wondered if he might not be able to make a return. Obviously, when he came to training camp this year and didn't end up really doing anything at training camp. I mean, within no time, he was basically put on injured reserve and was announced that he wasn't fit to play. I know he had multiple surgeries last year, and there was reports saying that he had felt as good as he had in a long time, but obviously, doing informal skates and informal workouts is not quite the same as the wear and tear and the grind of an NHL season. And after going into training camp, likely doing some testing, it was determined that even though he might be feeling better, he's not really fit to participate in NHL hockey anymore. So, I mean, he's had a long career, participated in over 1,100 games, 464 points, multiple Stanley Cups to his name, had a chance to play on Team Canada at the Olympics. Certainly one of the stronger players that come out of that 2003 NHL entry draft. So he had a really solid run, a really solid career. I know the last couple of years, like I said, weren't great to him, but that's not what Seabrook will be remembered by. There's lots of great things that he's accomplished. Nothing to be ashamed of. Lots to be proud of for sure. So Brent Seabrook will remain on LTIR for the remainder of his career, which will certainly be a help to the Blackhawks when it comes to managing their cap space moving forward as well. It's one of those, things that kind of comes with mixed opinions there. Obviously, I'm sure he'd like to play, but and to some degree they'd like to have him in there. But obviously having that freed up space due to LTIR usage is, nice as well. But the Blackhawks are a team surprising this year. I mean, they have not only Seabrook, but Andrew Shaw and Zach Smith were also finally officially placed on LTIR today as well. Their seasons are likely going to be done, which never really got off the ground in the first place. And then, of course, they've been without Captain Jonathan Toews all season due to an illness that we don't really know a whole lot about. Obviously, he's keeping that private and confidential, which is, firmly in his right to do so. But we know he's not in the lineup as well. They lost Kirby Dach before the season got underway. That injury he suffered going to the World Junior Tournament put him out for the season. So, they've had nothing but adversity and nothing but things to kind of weigh them down. They came into the season without any kind of a defined goaltender, but Lankinen certainly has stepped up and surprised many with how well he's played, and the Blackhawks find themselves in contention to go to the playoffs when many felt they would be basement dwellers. So that certainly goes to show how much character and how much the youth is actually doing well in Chicago as well. I mean, Kane and DeBrincat have been certainly performing quite highly. Like Lankinen, Suter, this team is incredibly surprising. So we'll see what happens for Seabrook. I don't know if he'll be involved with any other way. Many felt that he would have an opportunity to work with the Blackhawks in a different capacity, but ultimately his playing days at least have come to an end. Now, we also saw a bit of a situation last night, which, I didn't see what led up to it because I was watching a different game, but Carolina Hurricanes were playing the Detroit Red Wings, and Canes defenseman Brett Pesce did a very, I guess you could call it a deliberate slew foot on Robbie Fabry, and it didn't take long at all for NHL player safety to have a look at this, and they actually announced not long after the game that he was being fined $5,000 for a dangerous trip. I mean, you could see plain as day on their way towards the benches that He knew exactly what he was doing, and it was a dangerous play. Somebody like Fabry, who's had a ton of injuries over his career, I'm sure didn't appreciate that. But like I said, I don't know all the events that led to that, but so not a good look for Pesce, who certainly has a good reputation. He's not somebody that's known as a dirty player. Clearly made a bad choice, bad decision, maybe lost his temper. I don't know, but not a good look on him, and he'll obviously pay the price here. But obviously, like I said before, I don't like the fining system, the way things work with player safety when it comes to that. We saw Ovechkin get fined $5,000 the other day for his stick to Trent Frederick. Considering the amount of money these guys make, $5,000 is nothing. So they're not going to learn from it. And if it's something that comes up that they wanted to do it again, it's not enough of a deterrent to stop them. So I honestly think that whole system should be revised and revisited for what they're allowed to fine them, because it doesn't really make any difference at the end of the day here when you're making millions of dollars. So anyway, we'll see if that ever happens. Now, of course, to conclude the video, I just want to touch on the fact that we woke up to some very sad news today, learning that Walter Gretzky has passed away at the age of 82. Of course, Walter Gretzky, the dad of Wayne Gretzky. Of course, Gretzky had several siblings as well. But Walter is kind of one of those guys that you felt like you knew him, even if you didn't. If you had a chance to meet him, it was quite an honor. He's done so much, not only for the game of hockey and coaching and helping Wayne get to where he was, but even after Gretzky was retired, all the work he did for charity and at the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he just did so much for the game. He was kind of looked upon as being like Canada's father of hockey almost. Like, it's a really sad day in our country. He's battled his fair share of health issues. I said at age 82, he's been battling Parkinson's for some time. I know back in the early 90s, he had that near fatal brain aneurysm, which unfortunately impacted a lot of his memories. I know it was a really sad situation. They almost lost him back then, which was a long time ago. And he's obviously come back and had a pretty good life since then. But like I said, he's just one of those guys that he's just such a kind soul that you felt like you knew him, even if you only had a chance to meet him for like a minute and take a quick picture. Like, he just made you feel welcome and felt like he knew you, even though he really didn't. So it's a really sad day here in Canada for Walter. I can't say enough good things about him and everything he's done for so many different things and initiatives over the years. I'm sure Wayne and his siblings are in a situation where they're very sad. There had been reports recently as well that Walter's health had been going somewhat downhill, so it's not a huge shock, but still very sad time. And I just want to extend my condolences to the Gretzky family and let them know that all of Canada is certainly thinking of them here today with this great loss, and such a great man who's done so much for the sport and for his country and for charity and everything else. So rest in peace, Walter Gretzky. You were certainly one heck of a man. That is all for today's news. Certainly let me know your thoughts on everything down below in the comments, and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.